Greetings programs and welcome back to Fallout 4 again, and this is really just a little follow-up video to the previous one. It's Sim Settlements again, although this is obviously not, you know, one of my settlements here. We're actually standing outside Diamond City at the moment. But it's just, I don't know, I want to focus more on the interior plots because I kind of mentioned them and I showed them as part of Rise of the Commonwealth. But, yeah, I've been playing with this mod just so much over the last, you know, week or however long it's been since I, you know, installed all the updates and got Rise of the Commonwealth. And the interior plots in particular they're really nice. And I actually had a thought of, originally when I built Murkwater, and I think we had a little look at Murkwater, I had this vision that I was going to make a kind of Kowloon walled city style settlement where it would just be like this one, you know, big kind of tower, but it would have lots of interior settlements and it'll be very, you know, jam-packed and full of, you know, but you can't really do that with the regular Sim Settlements plots. However, with the interior plots now in, well, you kind of can, but we're not at Murkwater, obviously. We're in the city, and here we can see the game struggling to load things in as quick as I'm moving. Yeah, we're obviously moving into a different cell, but we are in a different buildable area. We're at Hangman Alley. Now, this is actually also showing off a confluence of, you know, Sim Settlements and another mod, because there's a mod I've got installed. Shut up, caption guy. There's another mod I've got installed called Hangman Alley, or Hangman's Alley Interior Apartments, and once it's all loaded, because it's going to take a little while to load, that's maybe a little bit of a giveaway that the stuff built on the roof there. Yeah, it actually gives interior spaces to two of the buildings that are part of the Hangman's Alley workshop area, which are fully nav meshed so that your settlers can use them. And the interior plots from Sim Settlements actually fit in there really nicely. Yeah, this is taking a little while to load, but this is one of now the more built up areas I've got, so I'm not surprised that it is taking a little while to load, and also it's going to chug a bit. It's definitely going to chug a bit. Hopefully once I've got all the new PC stuff done, which is probably still a month or two away at this point, I'm about ready to make the next lot of purchases. But yeah, it'll be nice to have that all, you know, have all this run smoothly. So this is like the street exit. That's why I started over there, because I thought just it's nice and close. We'll just walk down here and it'll all be nice and loaded. And no, it wasn't. But yeah, so, I mean, this area is familiar. There we go, it's loading in all the bits. But that doorway there is new. And basically, yeah, it adds two lots of spaces. So that building there has got 4 interior floors. And then this building here has also got some floors. I think that's also... Well, I think there's 4 floors... counting the ground floor, but it also has like a little roof access, which I've taken advantage of to get up to the rooftops. Now, yeah, the frame rate really is chugging a bit here, and this video is basically going to be, hey, look at this thing I've done, but it also really shows off how much you can fit into a smaller space, because there's not many of the full-size Sim Settlement plots here. There's a couple on the rooftops, and we'll get to those. There's this one down here. This is a recreation plot. Yes. Is this one of Tinuvia's ones? I can't remember. I've got so many of the additional mods. Yeah, it is Tinuvia. So yeah, I've even gone as far as looking at the tutorials that King Gath has done, just to get a sense of the process of what it's like to create the add-on mods for Sim Settlements. Not necessarily to it might be a bit too involved for me, just in terms of I would need to do a lot of going around and reading up, but the resources are there. He has actually provided the resources. I'm assuming doing the interior plot models is basically the same process as doing the regular plot models. So this right here, you know, this little garage area, this is a commercial interior plot. It just fits in really nicely, and wow, it's really, yeah, you can't. Okay, I can't turn around too quickly. That really is not happy, but there's just so much stuff here. This is one of those few, like I've mentioned, I've got a mod that increases the build limit. Come on, Fallout 4. Wow. Okay, I'm getting about 3 FPS right now. It'll come back in a second. Yeah, I mentioned I've got one that increases the build limit. I think this is an area where I forgot to increase the build limit. So this is just about at the maximum vanilla build limit with all this stuff. So yeah, we've got farm plots there. We've got more on the rooftops. Most of the power, I think all of the power needs are met by this single fusion generator. And well, if we look in the interior of Dogmeat House here, you can see that, yeah, I've just put down some interior residential plots using, well, partly vanilla bits, but the thing is, right, with these plots, they take up, if we call one of these big square floor pieces, which I've basically used because the plots snap to these quite nicely. It's 1.5 of these, and the vanilla game, well, vanilla game plus DLCs gives you a whole bunch of these half floor pieces, but the vanilla game construction pieces don't really give you any half wall pieces. So I've had to use a lot of the same bits of wooden half walls that come from one of the many mods that add buildable stuff. So it's a little bit samey just because of that, and you can get around that by using just 2 of the full-size floor pieces, but that's a little bit trickier in spaces where the interiors are a bit more on the cramped side. But you can, you can fit in multiple residential plots. The doorways, by the way, that's also from a was it like SMB snappable. Snap and build something or other, I forget. There's so many mods. Not even that many mods compared to how much other people have probably modded it. So there's not really a lot there. I've got like a house on the 2nd floor there as well, but the upper 2 floors are basically empty because I've run out of build limit essentially. And there's no way to retroactively increase it. So, but still, I mean, this is like 23 people. Well, actually, no, it's 17 people and 6 robots. Because I've got a bunch of robo supply provisioners coming from here. So yeah, this is just, I've same in here. I've got some interior residential plots. We've even got a little. I've done a little bit of additional decoration. So hiding around the corner here, there's a bathroom, but there's not going to be a lot of the sounds are going to be visible to all, but it's fine. It's fine. It's a post-apocalyptic future. I'm sure people aren't fussy about such things. So on the 2nd floor, we've got only 1 residential plot, and then we've got the only kind of recreational plot there is at the moment, and that is, the model's a little bit buggy because there's supposed to be like a chalkboard there that's got some stuff written on it, but if it snaps correctly, and this is snapped to some floor pieces, it always merges in. And you can have it sit then slightly away, but the rest of the stuff is all like hovering off the wall in a kind of slightly weird fashion. So yeah, that's a little error with that particular thing. But as I said in the previous video, he's been putting out lots of error fixes and things. So that's the bar commercial plot. I've got one of the industrial plots here, which is. It's assumed that I've got another wall there, apparently. I might have to stick down a wall so that looks a little bit less weird. I've put some of my own stuff in there as well, and that's also snap and build stuff. And you can see here, actually, and it's the same with the default, like, Rise of the Commonwealth stuff, is that if you put down something and an upgrade, comes along that puts something in the same place, they basically just clip through each other. So I've seen that a couple of times in the Rise of the Commonwealth settlements. So that's the, I don't know what to call this, the mezzanine level. That's where all the people go to hang out for the most part. Anyway, they've mostly avoided the recreation plot I put on the ground floor. So this is the upper floor. This is like a big kind of penthouse area. You can set it so that the regular sim settlements plots, they close doors automatically, but these are all just vanilla doors, so everybody just always leaves them open. So yeah. And once again, also we've got a little bathroom through here, because it would be a bit cruel to leave them without bathroom facilities, I feel. But hopefully they've all drawn up a rota and nobody's shirking their duties on cleaning the bathroom. So this is a doctor's office, I guess we'd call it, which is a little bit basic, but again, just slotting in an interior plot there. And then we've got the roof access, which is it took quite a lot of fiddling to get this how I wanted it to, but this is like this isn't even necessarily all of the buildable area I could have on the rooftops, but it's, you know, all I can manage with the actual build limit. So I've got a couple of the regular home plots over here. Let's see if we can squeeze past these people. Hello? Hello? I got tired of seeing the half-naked Minutemen walking around, by the way, so I removed the uniform replacer. So unfortunately, the people I have on security posts and things don't quite match the rest of the Minutemen anymore. But anyway, so yeah, so we've got just a couple of the regular house plots up here, and you get a nice view down into Hangman's Alley itself. And you know, you could completely just ignore physics and, like, if you had a higher build limit, or even just without the interior apartments, because they're kind of obviously eating up some of the build limit in terms of the stuff I've got in there. But would you let me pass? This is the downside of this. It's a little bit cramped trying to get past here. But yeah, you could just kind of like have flooring over all of this and have it all built up in the air. So, there's a Minuteman barracks. I've actually got one of the farm plots inside a little greenhouse I constructed from yet another mod, although, is that still Snap and Build? No, that is a different mod. That's a mod that adds some, like, greenhouse parts and I think bunker parts and things like that. And I built this one and then decided it was a bit of a hassle trying to do it for all of the little plots. But, you know, it kind of works for at least that one plot. So, that was just a little experiment to see if that would be okay. We've got another house there, we've got a shop, we've got another little farm area, and yeah, you get some pretty nice views of the Commonwealth from up here.
Yes.
And then lastly, we've got, yeah, this is the problem with the, having the Minutemen barracks is quite nice because, you know, you get like Minutemen standing around the place, but also you also get Minutemen standing around the place. So yeah, lastly, we've got an Industrial Revolution advanced scrap heap plot, but it's not upgraded yet. Once it's upgraded, it won't be this great big ugly pile of dirt base that's sticking out the side and making everything look a bit janky. But once it's upgraded to a proper building, it'll look a lot better, and it'll actually collect some scrap. Now, it would be interesting and nice to see some Industrial Revolution integrated interior plots. At the moment, there is just one basic industrial plot, and it is just the same as a basic industrial scrap heap. So maybe at some point there'll be some Industrial Revolution interior plots, but it would probably be a little bit harder to have those work properly in a way that makes sense, because having, like, for instance, a miniature oil well on the top floor of a building, that wouldn't particularly make sense. But you could already have things not make sense within the Industrial Revolution plots in that regard. So yeah, that's Hangman's Alley. And I'm actually going to just finish this up because there is, I believe, a Rise of the Commonwealth like scheme plan for Hangman's Alley. And it's obviously going to ignore the fact that we have these interior spaces, but I'm still curious to see what it looks like. So this obviously being a video game where we can just, you know, save things and have it let rip, we shall do that. But I think we'll let this this storm pass first, this sandstorm, which is from another mod. I think this is True Storms. Yeah, it will be True Storms. So there you go. All of the mods. Right, so now the unpleasant weather has passed, we can just, I don't know, see what happens. I have no idea what this is going to look like, but presumably it will only use, well, I mean, it is only going to use the outside space. No, I didn't need to do that. I wanted the plan. They've actually, you'll notice the desks themselves have changed. I think this is one of the updated ones. Yeah, it will be. The console and the chair and everything used to be on the other side, so that was one of the things in the most recent patch for Sim Settlements, which is now, as of recording, like 3.03 or something like that. Occasionally you could put down a desk in a place where it would kind of wig out when you, it would just basically wouldn't let you sit in the chair, so I think that's why he's changed that, because I think the chair sitting animation is always from the same side essentially. Anyway, right, city plan. Assign city leader, this is the usual thing. Who can we... Strong, there we go. Strong can now be the leader of Hangman Alley. He'll be a very, you know, erudite and capable leader, I'm sure. So we'll do the option that we saw before. This is just me being curious as to what the Rise of the Commonwealth expansion does with Hangman's Alley. It's going to wipe away all my stuff. So this is obviously me, you know, I'm not going to use this as my save, but I'm just curious. So let's have a look-see. Although it'll be slightly sad to see it wiping away all my stuff. And also the frame rate's going to be horrible until it does wipe away all my stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see somebody else's vision of it constrained within just that narrow space. It's funny, in the previous one, I actually started off on Spectacle Island, and Spectacle Island, I completely forgot to mention that that's one of the ones that doesn't actually have a Rise of the Commonwealth preset plan as of yet. But I'm sure it will do in future, but it might only use like half of Spectacle Island, because my understanding is one of the issues with Spectacle Island and Sim Settlements particularly is that it only actually makes it's like split over two separate cells as far as the world is concerned. So that can be slightly confusing for Sim Settlements if it's not all within the same game area. So it might leave my rooftop stuff alone, just because it might not necessarily always... it might not consider that to be part of the buildable area. I don't know how far up the Rise of the Commonwealth thing for this is going to go. But that's what we're going to find out. Well, it's just removed a bunch of stuff so far. I'm not seeing any new stuff being built yet. Maybe me having this much stuff here already, or maybe it's the Hangman Alley Apartments mod has caused some confusion. I don't know. This is just me seeing what happens. I mean, it's removed some of the rooftop stuff, but so far I'm not seeing much in the way of new buildings being built. No, well, I've double checked. Hangman's Alley is definitely listed as having a building plan. It's listed as one of the areas included. I think it's just taking a really long time to think about it, maybe. Unless it is the Hangman's Alley interior apartments that's caused it to wig out. It's removing more stuff and plunging all my settlers to their doom. Although settlers are quite hard to kill. It might just be it was having to think really hard about removing things. I don't know. Anyway, I'll give this a few more minutes. Obviously, I can edit bits out, so you're not having to sit here and wait as well. But still, yeah, it doesn't seem to be building anything, only removing things. Right, here we go. We're getting some things built. I think it was just the amount of stuff I had, and maybe it was slightly wigging out because it was having to remove stuff from interior spaces that, as far as Sim Settlements is concerned, shouldn't be there. In fact, maybe some of the stuff in there is still in there. I don't know. But it is definitely building stuff. But it's hard to get a good view of it when we're flying around like this, because, of course, with Hangman's Alley, it's in the middle of a bunch of buildings, because it's an alleyway. But yeah, it is definitely constructing some stuff. So, okay, we are going to get to see what Rise of the Commonwealth version looks like after all. Also, you'll have to excuse the slightly wigged out textures. Like, this is not a particularly new game at this point, Fallout 4, but it maybe shows that my PC is starting to get a little bit on the creaky side in terms of doing video stuff. So here we are, the Rise of the Commonwealth version of Hangman's Alley, which we'll take a quick look around. It's actually got the original staircase in there as well, which is slightly... not sure that's meant to be there. So obviously it will have left the interior spaces alone, and yes, it has removed everything from those. That really took a long time, like far longer than any of the others that I've done so far. I think this is the 4th one, because I've done the slog now as well. as a Rise of the Commonwealth settlement. But yeah, I think it was just having to remove the stuff, or maybe it got confused because there was stuff in places it wasn't expecting. But yeah, it looks like there's not... I would say this is not going to be a particularly popular settlement if you're using Rise of the Commonwealth. It doesn't seem to have spaces for that many plots, and it does look like it's going to heavily make use of the interior plots, as I have done. But you'll notice the frame rate's a heck of a lot better than with my version. So yeah, it doesn't even... I was expecting maybe a lot more, like for it to be a lot more closely packed in terms of the horizontal space. I mean, there's still like a third layer going up here. That's probably going to be 2 or 3 plots there, but yeah, I think I prefer my version, but yeah, then I might be slightly biased in that regard. So that's it. Hangman's Alley interior apartments meets Sim Settlements interior plots, and also we had a little look at what the Rise of the Commonwealth version looks like as well. So hopefully you have found this video interesting. You can check out the mods, they'll be linked below. I mean, Sim Settlements is still simsettlements.com, but I'll also put in the Hangman's Alley mod as well, because it's a really nice one just to have that extra space. Even if you're not using Sim Settlements, you can still, of course, use it for your vanilla settlement stuff. So yeah, you can check those out below. So if you found this video interesting, you can leave any comments below, you can hit the like button, you can sub to my channel if you haven't already, and as always, stay tuned for more.